Hey everyone, welcome to Gateway Cup Day 4 in Benton Park. This is over by the Budweiser Brewery. It's through this super cool neighborhood. There's tons of people who come out to watch, especially on these first few stretches. Super fun race. Most technical of the four in this weekend. If you don't know, Gateway Cup is a 4-day crit series over Labor Day weekend, and this is the last day of it. It's the last race of the season for a lot of folks, so last chance to get after it. That's what I'm doing here, getting off the front, trying to get off the front. The lap before had been a preem, so I was kind of sweeping up all the guys who had sprinted for the preem and now going off on a little move, and got Colorado buddy Morgan on my wheel, secret teammates for the weekend. You'll see him come through in a second, but there's the brewery right in front of us. Yeah, there he is. This course has a lot of corners, 10 corners a lap, and they're definitely the defining feature. There's a little hill on the start finish, but the corners are the most consequential part. Helps this course favor a breakaway, and if not a breakaway, it can often be very attritional. And so that was part of what I was thinking here when I went on this attack was, if we get away, great, but if not, it'll help string the field out and take some sting into everyone's legs for later in the race. I mean, you do get a draft on some of these sections, but if you're sitting too far back in the field, you're going to have to do like 1,000 watts out of every corner, and with 10 corners a lap, that's just not sustainable. So it's a lot easier if you can race from the first 15 or 20 wheels. That was my game plan for the day. Me and Morgan are just putting a little hurt on everyone early. So the field has caught us. They're starting to come past, but I don't want to let too many guys file in front of me, so I think after this guy's right here, I'm going to pick it up a little. Yeah, getting on those wheels. Don't want to go too far back in this race, otherwise you're going to have to do a lot of extra work. Oh, here's a little chicane right left. This one's really fun. You could carry a lot of speed through these. But I think a lot of guys were a little bit timid. I was loving these corners, having a blast. So yeah, this is kind of the theme all race. There'd be little moves that would get gaps, but nothing would quite stick. So here's another little move. I think sometimes the moves were even like accidental, just like somebody would take a bad corner and it would leave a gap. Like, yeah, this guy just sits up and lets the gap go. So we come around because you don't want to let a group get away on this course. It's really easy to get out of sight. You can see it's never very far to the next corner. But we get all back together here, and as soon as it gets back together, everyone's just going to sit up. There was quite a few times during the race where it was strung out single file, and it seemed like the elastic was about to snap, but there just like wasn't quite enough concerted effort on the front, and it would let everybody back into it. So the field ended up still having, I don't know, at least 30 guys at the end. The last time I did this race, I think only 15 guys finished on the lead lap in the Cat 2-3 field, which is the same field as this. So it's a little bit different dynamic. So we stayed together for the most part. There were definitely people who got dropped, but it was still a pretty solid field coming into one to go, which is where we're going to jump to. So one to go here. I'm a little out of position. See this guy coming up fast on the right, so I'm going to jump on and cooking up the right-hand side here. The pavement was kind of crappy on the right-hand side on the home stretch, but you could usually find space over there. So that's what I'm doing, finding space on the outside of corner one, which I didn't mind because it sets you up for the inside of corner two, which was I liked that line there. People were like leaving a lot of room there, and it was like a slightly late apex. I think people were like taking a poor line, so having to scrub extra speed. So I'm making up more wheels here on my old teammate Margolis's wheel here, so it's a wheel I can trust. Don't mind this spot. I was kind of in like frantic mode before when we were coming up the hill, like, oh shit, I gotta make up spots. But here I'm like, oh, there's not that many guys left in front of me. I feel better about this. But in retrospect, I think there's, I don't know, if I could have been another like 5 spots up, that would have made a big difference. Yeah, but instead, oh, it looks like somebody's sending a little move here. I didn't notice that during the race. I guess that is what strings it out. Because, yeah, there wasn't really any big team presence, so nobody was setting up a lead out in these Cat 2-3 races. Yeah, it's gonna string. I guess it's strung back out here. I think I was also just like recovering from the hill a little bit. Maybe that wasn't the best place to move up. Especially I know that corners are usually my spot. And I say that as I gave up a spot in a corner. um, but I'll get it back in a couple here. Guy's gonna crash on the outside here. I don't know why he. It seemed like he was kind of far behind it to be going straight, but hey, whatever you gotta do, man. So maybe sitting like, I don't know, just outside the top 15 here. We have this chicane and then the fast right-hander, which people have been taking interesting lines through. We all make it through safely here. This guy in front of me has been taking pretty good corners all race, so I was definitely happy to trust his wheel. But I knew like coming out of this corner was probably the last chance to take an aggressive line and make up spots. So I'm gonna go inside that manhole cover and he goes out and I get to carry that extra momentum and go right past him and I get past my goals without too much effort. But now I see how many dudes are still in front of me, so I'm just sprinting here. That was basically like a proper sprint, and I'm gonna get a little help with this guy still going. And I think I just kind of settled for right here because it's a comfortable wheel. It's Morgan in front of me, and I don't think I had the legs to go any further up. So I think one guy is going to get me back before this last corner, and then it's really short from the last corner to the finish. And I actually had a pretty good sprint out of the last corner, so maybe I should have not quite settled going to the 2 to go because there's no room here. But you'll see after the finish, I actually am coming across with like so much momentum that I coast in front of everybody. So I was a little surprised by that, but not an awful finish. It was 12th on the day, which is my best result of the weekend. So good way to end the season. Thanks for watching, everyone.